According to some books and articles, the social welfare of United Kingdom started long time ago. Even during the primitive stage of living, social welfare already existed.
Introduction.
The history of social welfare is an interdisciplinary study of the evolution of charitable works, organized activities related to social reform movements, and non-profit or public social services designed to protect or benefit individuals, families, and citizens of the larger society. The term social welfare does not have a precise definition. Currently, social welfare refers to a wide range of activities and services by volunteers, non-profit organizations, and government agencies. Social welfare encompasses help provided to persons in need, activities and resources to enhance or promote the well-being of individuals, families, and the larger society.
A primitive stage.
Primitive states before 300s AD. During this period, there was nothing official or social welfare. There was some problem. People believed that it was a curse from God. So they have to face problem willingly. There is no other way to escape from it.
The Christian period.
This is my topic, Christian period. This period has wide effect on overall England. Within the Christian churches, there were 6 specific roles that can be classified as social welfare related. Number 1 is deacons. Number 2, deaconess. Number 3, sub-deacons. Number 4, excurses. Number 5, foresters. 6, parabalani.
The Christian period.
Today everyone, this is Christian period, 1200 to 1580. This period had a wide effect on all over England, so many were dedicated to charity work. In the church, large number of missionaries, schools, parishes, dioceses, hospitals, and social welfare agencies came into existence.
Role of the Church.
Hey everyone, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Fatima Musa, and our topic for today is all about rules of church. In Europe, in the early Christian era, the folk traditional, sustained in the faithful majorities the religion's obligation to care for those members of the group who could not care for them. So, 5 rules of church: apostle, prophet, evangelist, pastor, and teacher. So, to make Christ now and love to spread the knowledge of salvation everywhere, and to pray and suffer for the salvation of souls. So, the church, especially the monasteries, become the center for distributing food, medical aid, and shelter. Were composed in the parish and distributed through the parish and other who knew the individual and their situations. So, monasteries provided a stable environment to learning in medieval Europe.
The role of the Church and the beggary.
Of church and the risk of beggary. We know that the concept and practice of mutual help and help to the needy was primarily religion-based. During medieval era, when Christianity was declared as a religion by Charlemagne in 808 in Germany, the church assumed the responsibility of helping the needy. The church and the bishop were more important than anything else.
The welfare state timeline.
State timeline. Before is a timeline that explains the development and establishment of the modern welfare state. Year 1601, event Elizabeth Cornwall. Description: relief was given to people unable to work due to age, disability, or illness. Year 1834, event New Cornwall. Description: ensure that workers and feed 4 more children in workhouse receives Year 1908, event Out of Pension Act. Description: introduce pension for over 70 students. Event Labor Exchange Act. Description: created labor exchange. Year 1909, event Development and Road Empowerment Funds Act. Description: provide funds to improve and repair highways. Year 1911, event National Insurance Act. Description: protected workers, agents, loss of learning if sick, and provided unemployment benefits.
The Elizabeth Poor Law.
The Elizabeth Poor Law. The Poor Law of 1601 was a codification of the preceding poor relief legislation. The statute represented the final form of poor law legislation in England after 3 generations of political, religious, and economic changes that required government action. The law distinguished 3 classes of the poor. Number 1 is the able-bodied poor. Number 2 is the impotent poor. And number 3 is the dependent children. The able-bodied poor are those who could work but would not. Those are the unworthy poor or unemployed poor. They are known as the idle beggars. They forced to work in the House of Corrections. This group was given low-grade employment. Anyone who refused to work was placed in jail or House of Corrections. Number 2, the impotent poor. Those who would work but could not. They are the worthy poor or the deserving poor. They were the aged, chronically ill, physically or mentally handicapped, those who were in need of medical care, or the children who were forced to work. Number 3 is the dependent children. These are the orphans or the children from the very poor families. Those children who has no social support networks, or for example, no support from family or from the community or from relatives. And then boys were taught the trade of their masters and had to serve until they reached the age of 24. And then girls were brought up as domestic servants and were required to remain until they were 21 or until they get married.
The law by British King Henry VII.
Law by British King Henry. In 1531, British King Henry VII announced a new law, which because the first British law to be considered as a constructive, the contribution area of helping poor. Under this act, city mayors and justice peace were assigned the responsibility of obtaining knowledge about poor, issuing license for begging in an assigned area, barring them to move in other areas. This act was symbol that state accepted the problem faced by poor, took responsibility for providing help. Intervention of monarchs. During this period, branches and charity institutions were nationalized by government, and all those who were unable to work, poor, were maintained by this institution.
President Lyndon B. Johnson.
Good day, everyone. I'm Arang Ban, and I just want to tackle the term of former President Lyndon B. Johnson. So, during his term, the main goal of President is to eliminate the poverty and at magkaroon ng racial injustice. So during this term, the major spending programs was launched the address the education, medical care, and urban problem, and also the rural problem and transportation.
Thatcherism.
The first step during Thatcherism. Conservative leader Margaret Thatcher was elected Prime Minister in 1979. Throughout her year premiership, she dismantled many of Labour's post-war social welfare policies. Trade unionism. In 1980, the Thatcher government passed the Employment Act. This policy limited the number of people who could join a picket line and ban secondary action. This policy was followed by Employment Act of 1982, which banned political strikes and made trade unions financially accountable for damage that resulted from industrial action. Economic policies. Margaret Thatcher followed Friedrich Hayek's economic theory of monetarism, the belief that government should control the amount of money in circulation. In 1979, to curb inflation, the Thatcher government raised the base interest rate to 30%.
The Beveridge Report.
The Beveridge Report. In 1942, Sir William Beveridge, chairman of the Interdepartment Committee Social Insurance and Allied Service, presented a committee support to the government. The report accentuated 4 major principles. Number 1, every citizen to be sheltered. Number 2, the major risks of loss of earning power, sickness, unemployment, accident, old age, widowhood, maternity to be incorporated in a single insurance. Number 3, a flat rate of contribution to be paid regardless of the contributor's income. Number 4, a flat rate benefit to be paid also without regard to income as a right to all who qualify.
The School Meal Act.
Good morning, ma'am. By the way, my name is Saldo Bulusan, and I tackle all about the result of introducing the School Meal Act 1906. The number of school meal provided rose from 3 million in 1906 to 9 million in 1910 and 14 million in 1914. Local authorities were giving a grant of 50% from Treasury because it was not compulsory. A minority in local authorities afforded free school meal. In 1912, only 50% provided them. Children who received them were better nursery or malnourished or nourished, and their lives improved by
The formation of charity organization.
Society organized in Everfield, Germany and spread to Buffalo, New York around 1877. The conviction that really promoted dependency was the basis for forming the societies instead of offering direct relief. The societies addressed the cycle of poverty, neighborhood, charity visitors taught that values of hard work and trip to individuals and families. The COS set up centralized record and administrative service and embassies, objectives and investigation, affirmation training. There was a strong scientific emphasis as the charity visitors organized their activities and learned principles of practice and technique of intervention from one another. The result led to the origin of social casework. Gradually, over the ensuing year, volunteer visitors began the supplemented by paid staff.
The labor reforms.
Labor reforms 1945. Between 1945 and 1951, the Labor government introduced a series of social welfare policies. These policies were designed to combat Wilfrid's 5 giants. Let's look at how each giant was started. 5 giants. Disease. Labor introduced the National Health Service Act in 1948. The policy established free access to healthcare, hospital, doctors, dentists, and opticians, allowing poorer people access to healthcare for the first time. Ignorance. The 1944 Education Act provided all children primary, secondary, and further education. Idleness. Labor nationalized the steel, coal, iron, electricity, railways, and gas industries. This helped keep unemployment relatively low. Squatter. The New Towns Act 1936 created 12 new towns to tackle overcrowding. This was followed by the Housing Act 1949, Housing Act 1949, which established council houses and gave homeowners financial assistance to make housing improvements.
Housing. The Housing Act of 1980 allowed Titans to buy council houses at the reduced rate. By 1987, over 1 million Titans and had both council homes. While the aspirational working class heralded the policy, council could not reinvest funds into building new houses. This led to the deflation of council houses across the United Kingdom.
The welfare state become responsibility.
Welfare became state responsibility. In England flanked by 1350 and 1530, a series of laws were recognized as the statutes of liberals intended to force the poor to work. The decreasing power of the church and the rising tendency to shift responsibility to governmental authorities gave rise in England to a series of events which culminated in the well-known Elizabeth Poor Law of 1601.
The Social Security Act.
On August 15, 1935, enactment of Social Security Act established a national system of old age insurance for retired workers, benefit for victims of industrial accidents, unemployment insurance, aid for dependent mothers and children, the blind and the physical handicapped. The Great Society was a set of domestic programs launched during the term of President Lyndon B. Johnson.